Calling all you ambitious, overachieving, bossy, I can do it all. Don't bother me, I got this. Type A women, this podcast series, Healing the Hustle, is for you. Hey there, it's Jessica Butts, Front Seat Life all the way, same butt-kicky lady, just in a new chapter, and I'm so excited you're here. We're going to take a journey of healing the hustle as we are more than a year into a global pandemic, and let's be honest, we have all changed. It is time to acknowledge that, accept it, and start a new era of being our best selves without killing ourselves by getting off of the hamster wheel. We can still be our same awesome, ambitious, kick-ass selves while not buying into the BS of the hustle. I have found a new way, and I can't wait to share it with you. So let's start healing the hustle. Hello, and welcome back to the Front Seat Life podcast. I am your host, Jessica Butts, and today we are transitioning. We're transitioning. So the last 5 episodes, with the caveat of last week when I told you about why I sold my house, we are transitioning into fixing the hole in your bucket. So the 4 stages of healing the hustle are, number 1, identifying the hole in your bucket, which we've been talking quite a bit about. And there's so much more to come on this about a couple of things that I haven't yet discussed. But family of origin, for sure, your innate personality type, your attachment style, traumas, codependent style, so many of those things and more are wrapped up in identifying the hole in your bucket or identifying the healing the hustle. So I'm using this analogy for the hole in the bucket I'm a very visual person. I mean, and I know you guys are too, because so many of my listeners are intuitive types. So we need a visual to help us understand what this healing the hustle looks like and feels like. Can I get an amen? Okay, amen. It's this hole in the bucket analogy that I shared in episode 1. And so we've spent the last 5 episodes really identifying this hole in the bucket. I have heard from so many of you, specifically on last week's episode, about why I sold my house and how much you relate to the core values of freedom and independence and us getting ourselves in debt and the over shopping and the over buying and the overextending ourselves. And we then get into this cycle. And so thank you. Thank you for so many of your wonderful messages. I really appreciate that. And again, the last 5 episodes have been primarily about identifying our personality type as S's or N's. I did spend a lot of time talking about the N's, but SJ. So let's pause for just a second and talk about archetypes. So I created for my first book, Live Your Life from the Front Seat, some archetypes that are more understandable than John Bowlby's archetypes. I think his are a little, if I'm being honest, I think they're a little ridiculous and a little heady, and I don't know, they're interesting, but I created my own. And the 4 archetypes are these. 1 are the NPs, the second and last letter of Myers-Briggs, NPs. They are the squirrels. And so they absolutely do not have this hustle thing that the other types do. So NPs are the squirrels, and they fly by the seat of their pants, and they kind of go with the flow, and God bless them for all of those things. We do not have that. And then there are SPs, who you're getting the gist that the Ps are really the ones that don't have this hustle mentality. And I'm going to tell you a funny story about that in a minute. The SPs are the Nike Just Do It's and or the adventurers. They are just fly by the seat of your pants. Let's go do this thing. They're artistic, or they like to cook, but they live very, very in the moment. They are somewhat adventurous and And this is what they do. They just kind of fly by the seat of their pants. So hence they're not really thinking about the future or worried about the future or obsessing about it like this healing the hustle type is. So going back to the archetypes, the two archetypes that are mostly or almost exclusively in the hustle and need to heal their hustle are the SJs. And those are the police. A friend of mine actually messaged me on Facebook Messenger and was like, hey girl, like, my type. I'm not an N, but I am totally in this hustle. And I was like, you're right. And it is totally, this is her. She's an ISFJ and she is, the police. And so police are kind of out regulating everything, right? They are like making sure they are bossy leapers on the codependent style for sure. They jump on the other side of the net and try to manage and control other people. They are more the type than any of the types to tell people how to load the dishwasher. I mean, that analogy I've used it for years in relation to a lot of other things, right? You need to load the dishwasher this way. This is the way that you drive. This is the way you change diapers. This is how you raise our child. This is how I need you to do this. You didn't turn left here. They're very bossy and controlling people because their mind is set up in this way of policing everybody. So again, we'll talk about this in a second, but the codependent style for them is they are the bossy leapers. They are jumping on the other side of the net and managing and controlling other people, hence constantly hustling. I mean, one of the things we're going to talk about today is just mind your business. Mind your business. Stay on your side of the net. Like, how much time and energy can you get back if you just mind your business? Mind your business. Is it really that important to you to tell everybody how you want things done? No, it's really not. It's really not that important. And that personality type is absolutely all about that. So some part of this is just let it go. Let that shit go. Let it go. But I'll get back to that in a minute. So I definitely want to talk about the NJ personality type 2, because that is the other hustler. And that is the entrepreneur. So the 4 types again are NPs, the squirrels, squirrel, all over the place. Can't just super easily distracted by bright, shiny objects. God bless them, but they are absolutely not hustlers because they can barely remember. I mean, they just live 5 minutes in front of their face. So, I mean, they might be unorganized, but they're not necessarily this hustle personality type. Secondly are the SPs. Totally not hustling either, because they're so lovingly kind of in the moment. I mean, I've got a couple friends like this and I'm just so jealous because they are just blissfully like in the moment of whatever they're doing. And I'm like, my God, it would be nice to be like that. I just can't even, I can't even imagine. Well, I can because I'm trying desperately hard to work on it as, part of healing my hustle. But that is absolutely like not who we are. And then the SJs are the police. And then the NJs are absolutely these types that are just entrepreneurs and always what's next and where can I go and get out of my way. And I have a plan. I've got an idea. It's funny. These pauses that I'm taking are all of the ideas that are in my head. There's just so much about personality type to unpack. And whether it's about your life or your love and your relationships or your business or about healing the hustle. I have never, ever, and I've been doing this for, I've learned about type 20 years ago, but I'm about to go to my 10-year anniversary of graduating graduate school. And I still have not come to an end point of learning about type. It never ceases to amaze me how informative, eye-opening, validating, and just all around helpful it is to know about it from every single angle. And that is a big part of what this healing the hustle is about, is absolutely nature and nurture. But this nature piece of how we were born into this world and understanding our type. And it's very interesting. So most of my clients for this healing the hustle journey of the new book coming out and the summer school that closes next week. So by the way, let me just pause and tell you this. This weekend only, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, May, whatever it is, 14th, 15th, 16th, you can bring a friend for free. So there's a link somewhere to do that. So come bring a friend for free. But what I was going to say is that most of my clients for this session or arm of Front Seat Life of Healing the Hustle will obviously be J's, because that's, the ICA, the ideal client avatar for this. And then my ideal client avatar for my don't do stuff you suck at entrepreneurial school is absolutely intuitives, like almost exclusively, but also a lot of NPs, because they need the structure, systems, and singular focus that I have put in. So this is totally not about me. It's about, again, understanding type and how informative it is, again, in your life, absolutely in your relationships. I mean, it's just like the most fascinating thing with that, for sure. In your life, and then in your love, and then in your business, for sure. And then again, also in healing the hustle. So that's what we've been talking about, is identifying it and understanding your type. But today, 10 minutes in is really about fixing. So we've identified the hole in our bucket, and now we're going to be talking about fixing, repairing this hole in our bucket. And there's quite a few ways to do that. And I'm going to go through most of them today, knowing that there's probably another episode in here. And then I'm also on June 4th. I'm really excited to announce, well, I kind of just already announced it, that June is, I graduated from graduate school 10 years ago. So I'm going to do a special episode on June 4th, about all the things I've learned in the last 10 years about business, about entrepreneurship, about healing the hustle, and all of that. So that's percolating. It's been percolating. So there'll be a couple episodes, and then June 4th. Look forward to that. It's going to be a fun episode, I think. Okay. So let me ramble off a few of the things that are in the book, and coming up in summer school, and what's going to be talked about here today is fixing the hole in your bucket. So the number one thing is going inside. And I might have already lost some of you. You might have literally just stopped, because people don't want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear that shit. They want to hear, here's the solution, and here's this book. I mean, this is all about, again, fixing this hole that is in our bucket. And I'm going to list off a bunch of those ways, and then we will circle back and decide which ones we're going to dig into. So again, the inside. There's so many of you that don't want to hear this. I remember when I found out my husband was having an affair. My husband, was having an affair. And I will never forget going to Barnes and Noble. This was kind of when bookstores were still a big thing. And standing in the aisle with my cup of coffee, my hat on, bawling my head off, and looking for the book that would fix everything. Like, I need you to tell me how to fix this. How do I fix this? And we have turned into a culture of absolutely wanting something outside of us to fix us. I mean, yes, a therapist can help. Yes, a coach can help. Yes, great podcasts can help. Yes, excellent books can help. Obviously, I wouldn't do any of this if I didn't believe those things help. However, the number one thing before all of the other things I'm going to list of going to therapists, getting a great coach, like-minded people, setting boundaries, all of those other things is going inside. But I think people either put that last or they don't do it at all. They don't do it at all, because we are in a world right now that is inundated with noise. There are podcasts and fucking clubhouses and YouTube and books and coaching programs and online coaching programs and Instagram stories and IGTV and Facebook lives. I mean, magazines and books. And I mean, I'm sure I'm even missing some, right? There's so much stuff. There's so much stuff. And that stuff is still awesome. However, What I'd like you to do is flip the triangle upside down. So let's just say you've been doing a little bit of going inside and at the top of a triangle, and the bottom is filled with all the outside stuff. I'd like you to flip that and have the top be that the most of the time that you spend is getting quiet, listening to your intuition, going internal. So that looks like going for walks and turning everything off. I mean, that sounds crazy to some people. Getting up in the morning and being quiet. And if that means setting boundaries with your children or getting up an hour before them or letting your spouse know or setting up a place in the closet. I mean, I know straight up people that have set up a little like private space in a closet, or if it's at night, whatever, whenever, but learning how to be selfish AF. This is my new slogan, SAF. Let's be SAF. And I'm calling that soulful as fuck or selfish as fuck. Just straight up taking care of ourselves by learning how to get quiet. And I guarantee, I know this from being a therapist for the last 10 years and being a coach and literally observing people when I'm out and about, is that people don't know how to just sit with their own thoughts. I mean, I watch people constantly being on the phone. I saw a woman the other day. She could not get off the phone. I mean, she was just constantly calling and just to chat, right? It needed to fill her up. That was her filling her bucket. And she has a huge hole in her bucket, but she was filling her bucket by requiring other people to fill her up. And I am here to tell you that does not work if you have a hole in the bottom of your bucket. We've got to fix the hole in the bottom of the bucket. We've got to fix the hole. And fixing the hole is you need to learn how to shut the fuck up. You got to learn how to get quiet. You got to stop with all the noise and the information and all of the things. And that is going to make you exquisitely uncomfortable if you don't know how to do it. It's going to make you exquisitely uncomfortable. And if you so choose to participate in the 10-day challenge that's been going on, or a challenge, or this is of interest to you as we're going into summer school, is that would be the challenge, is to start learning how to fix the hole in your bucket by getting quiet. Turn shit off. Stop listening to every godforsaken thing. Flip the time. It doesn't mean, again, they go away. Flip the time that you spend of all the other things influencing you to flipping that to more of that time being your intuition. Elizabeth Gilbert talks about this in Big Magic that, you know, as an entrepreneur or anything for that matter, I mean, not even an entrepreneur, just a frickin' person living their life, is that no clarity. She talks about it as an idea, but let's use it in terms of a clarity today. No clarity can come to you if you are constantly busy. So I'm on a podcast right now, so you can't see my hands, but imagine your hands flying around you. Right? All the noise. And you're like that pig pen, right? All the dust is around him and there's just so much chaos going on. No clarity, no calm, no peace, no ideas can come and land on you if you are constantly busying yourself. And this is absolutely part of healing the hustle. In fact, it's a huge part. I would say the number one part of the identifying is your innate personality type. The hugest part of the second stage, which is fixing or repairing the hole in your bucket, is this. And I'm going to give you a bunch of the other things after this, but the number one thing is learning to go inside. And that's it, I guess. I mean, I want to continue to teach you more about this, but you know, podcasts are so fun and wonderful in a lot of ways and also very limiting. This is what summer school is about. This is about engaging and you asking me questions, having connection and Q&A, and you having to say like, this is really uncomfortable for me, or I really like this or whatever. And so I will leave you with that. And then we're going to talk about a bunch of the other things. So the other things are therapy. I think everyone should have a therapist in their speed dial. Period. End of story. I have a wonderful, amazing private clients. When I was a couples counselor, in fact, I shouldn't say when I'm still doing it. I've got a few clients, couples that I'm working with right now, and it's like the joy of my life. I love it so much. And they will graduate at some point, right? Their presenting issue is somewhat resolved, but they then want to just kind of come in once a month. They want tune-ups. They want to do what would Jessica say, or a Weight Watchers weigh-in. And I believe everybody is fixing the hole in their bucket or healing the hustle should have a therapist or somebody that they talk to on the regular. Number two, some people have both. I typically have a business coach, and then I also have a therapist, but some people may just need one or the other, a life coach or a business coach. So number one is a therapist. Number two is some sort of coach. Number three are like-minded people. I am very adamant about this one because we change and evolve as human beings. And part of healing the hustle, I really, really, really believe, is understanding that we change and evolve. We have new chapters. We have new eras. We grow. We have different things that are important to us at different times in our lives. And when we try so desperately to hold on to things or people that no longer serve us, we are doing ourselves a massive disservice. So part of the way that we can fix that hole in our bucket is letting shit go when it no longer serves us. And the whole the like-minded people thing is about letting people go that are not serving your life anymore. It doesn't mean you don't have to be friends with them. It just means that they may not be a rock or a priority. I've talked about rocks ad nauseum on this podcast before, but these are the things that are the most important. And at different times in your life, when I am growing a business, or I'm healing the hustle, or I'm just setting boundaries, or I'm in a new relationship, or I have things going on in my family and I just don't have time for other things. I call them B-list friends or C-list friends or D-list friends. Those are also sometimes activities. We can't do everything. We can't be the perfect worker outer and always eat healthy and be caring for, a dying family member, and be running our business and be the perfect partner and take perfect care of our health. We can't fucking do that. We can't do that. And I am here to start giving permission to not do that, to not fucking do that. That is insanity. That is insanity. And then we beat ourselves up for not being perfect. And we beat ourselves up for, oh God, why did I have popcorn for dinner last night? Fucking get over it. Eat popcorn for dinner. Who fucking cares? Who cares? It's crazy to me, the pressure we put on ourselves to be these high achieving, perfect people all the frickin' time. When I have something that comes up in my life, I've got something right now. I don't know when I will share this, but it's not appropriate to share it yet. But I have something, going on in my family, and there's just other things that that just have to take a back seat. So my partner's birthday, and I just didn't have the capacity to throw him a birthday party. And I just had to tell people that I just can't do this right now. It is just not that he's not a priority, but buying stuff and I just can't. I can't. I got to take care of myself. I moved. I mean, right. We got to figure out where the things are that are priorities. That is absolutely part of healing the hustle. Absolutely part of fixing this hole in the bottom of our bucket. We've got to set frickin' priorities. We have to set priorities. Okay. I've already mentioned the fourth one, which is being selfish as fuck. SAF. It's my new term. I love it. I'm all about it. And that also goes into again, just saying, hey, I can't do this birthday party. I can't do this thing. I can't get back to you. I can't message you back. I can't I just can't do the thing. And so when I've got a lot going on, like I currently do in my life, I just straight up tell like the main people in my life, hey, I can't do this. Like, I'm not going to get back to you on Marco Polo. I'm not going to do this. Like, I got to take care of myself, my clients, the immediate people in my inner circle, and that's it. That's all I have capacity for at the moment. That will change, but that's all I have capacity for at the moment. And I just tell people that because then I don't feel guilty. There's not this weird expectations. No one's mad at me. I am speaking clearly about the next thing that's on my list, which are my boundaries. And boundaries are just saying fucking no. Just saying no. No, I can't go do that thing. You don't even need to give a reason. No, I will not be there. No, I can't do that. No, you don't even have to say I can't or I want, but just setting a boundary. I do believe the people that are important enough that you let them know. Again, just letting people know, hey, I'm moving. I got a million things going on. There's stuff going on in my family. My capacity is smaller than it normally is right now so that everyone's on the same page. And then if someone crosses that boundary, that's on them. Part of it is like, I'm not corresponding with strangers on the internet. I mean, that is absurd to me right now of like engaging in conversations with complete and utter strangers. That is absolutely not on my priority list and probably won't be for the foreseeable future. So the next thing that I want to spend a little bit of time talking about is staying on your side of the net. And this is you know what? I might save this for next week. This is a huge freaking topic. Here's a teaser. Sorry, I did not mean to do this, but I'm trying to keep these episodes to about a half an hour, and I just realized I'm at 27 minutes. And codependency absolutely deserves its own absolutely deserves its own episode. And so I think next week, that's where I will pick up. We will talk about staying on your side of the net and understanding your codependent style in terms of fixing the hole in your bucket and healing your hustle. And it's a doozy, as well as front seat activities. This is going back to your personality type, setting boundaries, being selfish AF, saying no, new chapters, reinventing yourself. Like the front seat activities really incorporates a lot of those things. I love talking about this. I think you can tell because I am so fired up. I start dropping F-bombs like crazy. Thank you everybody for listening to my F-bombs. My friend, summer school is only open for one more week. I do hope you will come and join me. I'm very excited to share this content on a much deeper level, to talk to you about it, to actually see you on Zoom, to engage with you, to answer your questions. Part of healing the hustle is right. I'm not doing that on Instagram or Facebook DMs. Like, mama ain't got time for all of that. Or I just don't want to. Again, just setting a boundary, like I don't want to. So I love doing these podcasts and I love connecting with people. And so that is what is coming up. So this weekend, I will be honest, is the weekend to do it because you get to bring a friend for free. So find a neighbor, bring along your best friend, send this podcast to them, let them know this crazy chick is doing this healing the hustle thing and you'd love to have them come. You can split it and it'd only be $250 each for 8 weeks of group content, or just gift it to them. If you're in a position to do that, I think that would be lovely as well. All right, my friends, I will see you next week. As promised, I'm making notes as I'm going along to talk about fixing the hole in your bucket part 2, which will be about codependency and front seat activities, and then some wonderful transition into the next stage, which will be stage 3. And then again, June 4th, I'm going to talk to you about my 10-year anniversary. That is truly unbelievable. All right, guys, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week. From the bottom of my heart, truly, thank you so much for listening. I know that you have a ton of options. And the fact that you are taking time to listen to the Front Seat Life podcast means absolutely everything to me. If you're interested in learning more about the Front Seat Life way of life in the community, you can find out all about that at jessicabutts.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.